99% of the time, I love guitar. It has led me to some of the deepest, most fulfilling things in my life. It has brought me immeasurable joy. It's my career. But once in a rare while, I kind of fucking hate it. And that got me thinking, if the guy who has guitar in his name has his moments, then there's gotta be some absolute full-blown haters out there. So I thought I would Google, I hate guitars, to see what comes up. Now, funny enough, the first thing that pops up is a video that I made about guitars that I passionately dislike. And I'll tell you, it's still always pretty weird to me to stumble across myself in various places on the internet. Whether that be a scam on Facebook using my likelihood to sell something without my permission, an article written about me buying a Pizza Hut guitar that I didn't actually buy, or just a comment about me on a guitar subreddit. Yeah, it's pretty cool, but also still quite weird to me. Then if we scroll down a little bit, we've got a list of things that people who had Googled, I hate guitar, also commonly asked. For example, is guitar losing popularity? My guess would be no, which seems kind of counterintuitive given the fact that guitar-related music has definitely dropped in popularity. But back when I taught guitar, one of the things that I noticed was just how many young girls were getting into the instrument specifically because of Taylor Swift. This is a massive demographic that historically probably wouldn't have picked up guitar, so my thoughts are that they offset the guy who would have traditionally picked up a guitar who now doesn't. It says, the numbers are pretty shocking. In the past decade, electric guitar sales have dropped by a third, from 1.5 million to a new average of just over 1 million. Okay, well, I was completely wrong. I'm also realizing I taught guitar 16 years ago, so is Taylor Swift even still popular with the kids these days, or is she like a legacy artist? Man, I got old and out of touch in a hurry. Okay, here's something many young would-be guitarists have considered. Does guitar make a guy more attractive? I think it depends. If you can play the kind of music that the person you are trying to attract enjoys, then yeah, that's certainly gonna help. But if you're trying to win over most ladies with your bebop licks and your odd time signature prog riffs, then all I can say to you, my friend, is I hope you have more luck than I did. Real talk though, it doesn't matter what kind of music you're into, it really pays to have a handful of songs in your repertoire that you can strum on an acoustic and get everybody singing along to. And the good news is, they're usually only a handful of chords. So yeah, get out there, learn Wonderwall, learn Wagon Wheel, and it should serve you well at some point. I'm gonna take a quick second here to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning and is looking to explore their creativity. One of the classes I watched recently was YouTube Success with MKBHD or Marquez Brownlee. And while I've been at this for over 8 years, it's great to hear one of the biggest tech reviewers talk about his thoughts on script writing, planning things out, editing, growing your following, and stuff like that. I'll tell you, there are concepts that Marquez discusses that I will absolutely implement. It's a great class for anyone at any stage of their YouTube journey. Whatever it is you do, wherever your interests lie, the wealth of information on Skillshare is bottomless. Whether you want to learn how to do something you've done countless times better, like taking a picture with your iPhone, or if you want to learn something brand new, like how to tend a garden, Skillshare is the perfect place to get started. It's ad-free, there are new classes added weekly, and the entire collection is subtitled in a variety of different languages. I'm a huge fan of what they have to offer, and if this sounds like something that's interesting to you, the first 1,000 of you to use the link in my description will get 1 month free trial, or use promo code Samurai Guitarist for that same offer. Anyways, let's get back to it. Here's a post on r/the10th dentist titled, I hate guitar. Straight to the point. Okay, let's see what our hater has to say. I was a drummer growing up. Okay, well, that's your first problem right there. And I had a hard time finding people who shared the same music preferences as me because I just can't stand the sound of guitar. If you don't like something, you don't like something, that's fine. And if you're into music, then the guitar is definitely a hard thing to avoid. And if you already have a distaste for something and then you can't escape it, then I can definitely see how a strong, deep-seated hatred can grow. He says he hates the loud, distorted sound. It sounds like rah, rah, rah. And he doesn't like the acoustic sound because it sounds like blanka, 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 blanka. The fuck kind of acoustic guitars you've been listening to that sound like blanka, blanka? However, he does go on to say that he actually does like guitars sometimes. The one guitarist he loves is Corey Wong. Great choice, because he is so clean and never strums. Is strumming not basically everything he does? And he says it's very jazz influenced, and he likes the clean sound of jazz guitar. Couple notes here. Fully agree on the Corey Wong front. He is such a delight to listen to. But also, jazz? I mean, Jazz is in a lot of music, but that is not the style I think of when I think of Cory Wong. That guy is about as funky as they come. And when I think of like a jazz guitar sound, to me that sounds like this. Whereas Cory Wong is very much. And again, like there's jazz in Cory Wong's playing, but I think the terminology is a bit amiss here. I'm wondering if this fellow has been exposed predominantly to hard rock, rock, and pop types of music, and maybe there actually is a lot of guitar stuff outside of that umbrella that he would enjoy. But I'll tell you, if somebody came up to me and said that they hate the sound of guitar, I would encourage them to listen to Derek Trucks, and if they did that and still didn't like guitar, okay, I've done all that I can do. Enjoy the rest of your guitarless life. All right, moving on, here's a post from r/guitar, and this guy asks, is it just me who despises guitar culture? No, it is not just you. Let me tell you how I see it. For some of us guitar players out there, the guitar is not our main love. Our main love is music. For me, the guitar just happens to be the tool I use to make music and has been what I've used to find a career in it. But a lot of my favorite music doesn't have guitar in it, and I'll be totally honest with you, there is nothing more boring to me than talking about the intricate technical details of guitar-related gear, or for that matter, even listening to most guitar instrumental music is something that I have absolutely no desire ever to do. But there are people out there whose first love is guitar, guitar stuff, and guitar-focused music. Power to them, the world would be boring if we all like the same thing. But these two subsets of guitar players have a lot of interests that overlap, but also value a number of things quite differently. So when you get these two groups interacting in guitar forums and places of guitar culture, there are times that they can find each other quite annoying. And there's a video I saw a while back that perfectly encapsulates this. I can't find it anymore, but John Frusciante, the guitarist of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, walked off a tour bus and there were a bunch of fans there. And when the fans asked him, he was like, hey John, does your Les Paul have 0.223 MF capacitors in it? And John Frusciante just kind of looked at him and was like, man, I have no idea. All right, what do we got here? 21 guitarists reveal what they hate about guitar. It would seem a lot of them hate stuff like flying with guitar or something like that, but here's what Zakk Wylde had to say. The worst thing about playing guitar is all the catching herpes, venereal diseases, crabs, and even syphilis. All of that kind of stuff is a big problem for us. It can get pretty rough and damn expensive to get fixed up. Zach, I gotta say, I don't think your problem's with the guitar, but rather the US's lack of a universal healthcare system. But personally, one of the things that I hate most about guitar, besides being frustrated because I can't do what I want to do, or seeing some Instagram prodigy kid make me want to quit guitar and sell my instruments. But yeah, when you're playing guitar and bending a whole bunch and then your finger gets separated from your nail. It's terrible, it hurts for days, there's nothing you can do about it, and then if you go and do any bending, it's excruciatingly painful. I will say, if you're dealing with this, one of the things that's helped me is switching from nail clippers to a nail file, but it still happens, and when it does, it elicits the rage within. Here's an article that comes up on our Google. Blues guitar master Joe Bonamassa said in an interview with Guitar Player, "Truth is, I hate the way I play guitar, I hate the way I sing. I know I can do it pretty well, but I wish I could do it so much differently." Man. Can any of us not relate to that on some level? It's weird, there are two ways I generally feel about myself as a guitarist. I either think that I'm amazing or that I'm absolutely terrible. There's no in between, and somehow these things coexist at the same time. When you're feeling it, it's so good, you're the greatest guitar player ever, but it doesn't take long for that voice to creep into your head and say, hey, remember that Instagram guy we saw who could do this 100 times better than you can? And then suddenly you remember that you are the worst guitar player ever to exist. This is an ongoing thing I deal with. You wish you could sound like somebody else, but then you find out the guy that you wish you could sound like, someone like Joe Bonamassa, wishes he could play like someone else too. At some point, you just gotta be like, this is what I do, this is what I put into the world, this is my unique voice. But you gotta keep reminding yourself of that because it's so easy to revert back to the other thing. And it's complicated because those comparisons, wanting to sound like someone else, are a big thing that motivates us to get better. So you do need an element of that in there. It's a lot to balance. Joe, the guitar self-loathing / loving support group, welcomes you with open arms. This one comes from a drum forum where I assume a drummer says, never met or worked with a great guitar player who wasn't A, deeply in love with himself, or B, wasn't in some way slightly askew personality-wise. I honestly don't think there is a normal guitar player out there. And I'm trying to think if I know anyone who's really good at guitar that I would consider normal. Nope. I think people who gravitate towards guitar are people who want attention in some sense. And the thing is, if you get really good at guitar, you're gonna get a lot of praise, which is never great for the ego, but also being really good at guitar doesn't necessarily correlate with career success, which can also mess with the ego. Besides that, to get really good at guitar, you have to be somewhat obsessive. And if you take someone who has obsessive tendencies and then stick them in a room by themselves for as long as is required to get good at guitar, then you can get into some pretty weird headspaces that I don't think are conducive to normalcy. All right, let's see what happens when we go on over to the Google Images. For all of you frugal musicians, make guitar picks out of your calluses when they fall off. Oh no. I gave mine a cool design with a pen. Okay, we're done here. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That's what you get when you Google I hate guitars. Remember to check out the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare, who really do offer an amazing product. And remember to use my link, which is in the description, to get 1 month free trial. Thank you all for watching. If you want to check out another video like this one, hit that link up there. Get that Sammy G merch over at shopsamuraiguitarist.com. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and stay tuned for a wide range of music-related content. Until next time, look after yourselves, look after each other, look after the planet. I'm Samurai Guitarist, and I'll see you again soon.